Severe flooding has hit the border regions between Vietnam and China after 3 powerful typhoons struck in quick succession, leaving thousands of homes underwater and sparking blame between citizens of both nations. The storms, named Paga, Bu Loi, and Matmo, brought days of heavy rainfall starting in late September 2025, overwhelming rivers and forcing mass evacuations across Guangxi Province in China and several northern Vietnamese provinces. As floodwaters surged through the Guangxi Autonomous Region and northern Vietnamese provinces, a parallel torrent of misinformation flooded digital platforms. Social media channels became battlegrounds where citizens exchanged accusations rather than assistance, with each nation blaming the other for the aquatic catastrophe. Chinese platforms, including Weibo and Douyin, circulated viral content alleging Vietnamese dam failures and deliberate water releases had inundated Guangxi. Meanwhile, Vietnamese netizens propagated counter-narratives suggesting Beijing had orchestrated upstream reservoir discharges to devastate their northern territories. The Guangxi region has experienced what meteorologists classify as a compound flooding event, where multiple precipitation systems converge with saturated ground conditions to create exceptional inundation. 7 meters in numerous water locations. The China Meteorological Administration escalated its flood alert to orange, the second highest designation in their emergency classification system. 62 meters, with discharge rates approaching 11,400 cubic meters per second. Urban centers including Nanning, Baise, and Chongzuo have become aquatic landscapes where streets transformed into rivers and neighborhoods disappeared beneath turbid waters. Vietnamese provinces, spanning from Long Son and Sao Bang to Tai Nguyen, Bac Ninh, and Bac Giang, are experiencing what hydrologists describe as an anomalous flood pattern where precipitation has ceased, yet water levels continue climbing due to upstream basin accumulation. The prolonged meteorological assault has saturated watersheds beyond their absorption capacity, creating delayed runoff effects that sustain flooding long after the last raindrops have fallen. Transportation infrastructure has collapsed under the hydraulic pressure, with arterial roads submerged and rural communities completely isolated. Authorities from both nations have mobilized hydrological expertise to counter the disinformation surge. On October 13th, the Guangxi Water Resources Department released an official clarification explaining the topographic impossibility of reverse water flow from Vietnam into China. River headwaters, originating in Chinese territory, cannot generate backflow under gravitational physics, department officials explained. The flooding resulted exclusively from extreme orographic precipitation, moisture-laden air masses forced upward by terrain, producing concentrated rainfall over multi-day periods. Dr. Nguyen Ngoc Huy, a Vietnamese climate adaptation specialist, characterized the event as an extreme precipitation anomaly driven by atmospheric instability rather than anthropogenic water management decisions. He emphasized that flood peaks occurred despite rainfall cessation, indicating basin-scale hydrological accumulation rather than deliberate discharge. Nguyen Tien Binh from Vietnam's National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting corroborated this analysis with stream gauge data showing no abnormal cross-border inflows. The flooding originated from domestic precipitation accumulation within Vietnamese watersheds. The regional drainage network makes bilateral flood blame scientifically untenable. Northern Vietnam's primary river systems, including the Ca, Thuong, and Lo rivers, originate within Vietnamese territory. Only minor tributaries like the Kai Kong River trace their sources to the Sino-Vietnamese mountain ranges. Gravitational hydraulics prevent Vietnamese waters from flowing uphill into Guangxi's elevated terrain. Conversely, Guangxi's floodwaters rarely penetrate deep into northern Vietnam, except during simultaneous heavy precipitation events affecting both regions concurrently.
What the?